på. So in English, of course, excuse me. So if you look at this, I'm going live now, so you can ask any questions about carnivore and fasting. And if you want to know anything else, because I've gone through a lot of shit in my life, and I have the experience to solve most of the problems and more. I have solved all my problems. So if you have anything, these questions, just ask them. Can autophagy and fasting help with the skin? And yeah, of course, I will answer this in English because this is an international site, YouTube, so I need to talk English. What it looked like in my body is that everything that has, in these 5 years of carnivore, the health in the skin, I have put up photographs in Instagram and also on Facebook. And we'll go into my page here because I didn't share this on my page. So you can look at the photographs, and I have probably solved most of the problem that I had. And the skin issue, because I have been really, really obese. So that's a problem because the skin is, getting filled up, and you will get like all, being same problem as a pregnant woman, but it's because you're going a lot of years that your skin will, stretch. But it looks like, I would say around 90% of all the excess skin is gone. And if you look at the photograph of my head and my neck from when I was the fattest and compared to today, this is me now. No, not such, I have no effects. No, this is what you see now is exactly how I look in the reality. So the skin has gone back. So I don't have, a little bit, I'm turning 49 in 2.5 months. So I'm not young. I'm not young at all. But I would say like 90% of skin issue, if you have been like pregnant or fat, will be solved more or less with a long time fasting, and you repeat it a lot because the excess skin, the skin is the biggest organ we have on our body. The skin is not a dead thing, it's an organ. So of course if you have too much of it and you go into autophagy, your body will try to use that and reuse it, because every time you go in a fasting mode, the autophagy is eating, but it means in Latin is eating yourself. So that's one thing the body can heal itself. I was at a bathhouse, swimming with my 2 kids today, and I checked the leg today. And what's interesting is that I have photographs before I started this carnivore, and I have a leg wound, I had leg edema, and I got an open flesh wound, it took me about 5 months, 2016, to heal that. I forgot to tell about that when I was interviewed by Dave Mack. But I have photographs before carnivore, and I look at the leg today when I was at that house. And funny thing is that half of that old wound has re-radiated the outer skin. So I got the red skin disappear almost to 90% now. So the skin is healing itself. So it's fully possible to, this is against the, if you check with the science or, with the hospital and, going through an like leg wound, a bigger wound, or maybe you burn yourself or some kind of problem, most people will have that scar forever. But the funny thing is, the scar is, of course, you can see that has been like a scar on the leg, but I would say 80% of the skin is healed in that leg wound. And I have photograph of that before carnivore and into carnivore, and I can take a new photo today if I want to. And I would say 80% of the skin is regenerate itself, so it creating new this, I think it called it Swedish is horn lager. I need to check that English word for that. Better say the right word directly instead of, in Swedish to English is a horn layer. That is the outer skin. And if you get a big wound, most people can't regenerate the skin. You will have this scar for years. And suddenly maybe it can heal. But I have bigger scars, from, burning. And also that has disappeared. So I have an old wound here over here from an industry work I have for 24 years ago, and it's also disappeared totally when I'm doing this fasting. I will say if you're a woman or man, it doesn't matter. If you want to sustain the fasting, I will say the optimal. This is something I will probably release a book about this, because every people that tried this type of eating schedule, living, and eating and the fasting, this is what I found is the most simple thing you can do. And why? That's because fasting is a key for health. People back in the days, like 100 years, 200 years back, they didn't eat 3, 4, 5 times per day. Most people couldn't afford eating more than 1 or 2 times per day. They didn't eat breakfast. That's something that come into humans' life in the 1940s, 1950s. People never eat breakfast at home. And it is no reason for it, because most people that work normal, that have a working metabolism, create their breakfast inside, because you will kick out gluconeos every morning before, about 1-2 hours before you wake up. You wake up because your blood sugar goes up. As long as the blood sugar is high, you have energy. You don't have to eat food in the morning. That's totally ridiculous to eat. And if you don't eat, even if you don't eat, carnivore, you look at it, you don't need breakfast. Your body makes breakfast for you. Of course, it's much easier to not eat breakfast when you eat carnivore, because you will not be hungry normally. If you are hungry in the morning, that's something wrong, because you shouldn't be hungry. Then you have to work with your metabolism and get your body to burn fat. But the best thing I will say is that you do maybe 70 hours fast 1 or 2 times per month, or even longer, 1 time per, 2 times per half year, and do a 5 days fast. And shouldn't do that too much, depending on your, sex you have, and depending on where you are in your, if you're in fertile age, you should take it a little easy with that. But the best thing I would say, doesn't matter if you're a woman or if you're a man, do a 36 to 40 hours fast between the meals. If you do that, your body will not recognize this as starving, because the body doesn't care if you eat between 36 to 40 hours or eat 24 hours. It will not kick out any hunger. Most people takes 2 days, 48 hours to come to that switch. Then you can get a little bit hungry and you feel, I was that in the beginning. I know after 48 hours you get, I'm a little bit hungry now. And you will probably says you to live back the interview on his Danish channel in Swedish and Danish. Of course, that is possible. Swedish is my fluent language. It's much easier to talk about my past and how it works today. And I'm not an influencer. I will never be. But I go all in if I do something, and I always do that in everything I do, work, healing, whatever it is. I try to solve the problem, and I go all in, also getting fat. Of course, I got one of the biggest males in this country that survive this shit, because if you're going up to over 600 pounds in Sweden, you are not healthy. You are going to die soon. And I fixed that. I'm back in health and I work full time. Even if I hurt my knee 1 week ago, I work too much. I work 19 days totally without any day off. So my right knee got overloaded. Not just because of the weight, because I still have a little more weight than I need, but it's because I walk too much. I'm struggling at work around 11,000 to 14,000 steps each day on a flat concrete floor. That's totally idiotism. So I will probably get me a kick bike at work, because we have long distance. I have to maybe go around 150, 200 meters to mechanics inside. Yeah, 14 kilo, and probably the first 7 kilo is water. That is the case. So if you go in with the fasting first time, yeah, of course. But I come, as everything I go into, I try to understand. I go to my physiotherapist today. He opened up for me. So we go doing laser treatment on the knee, and told me how to do. And I go doing hot tub bed at that house, and swimming, to exercise without any, heavy thing on my knees. So it feels wonderful now being in hot water for 3 hours, and my kids play and have fun. And the concrete floor in itself is not bad. The bad thing is that it's flat. It's in perfect flat. And when you're walking on a concrete floor, the problem is it's flat, and you're going the same way every step you do. It's hitting your knees at the same spot constantly, day in and day out. If you walk out to the woods, you can walk on concrete as long as it's not straight. And it's, everything in nature is different. You have some rocks here, you have, it's not straight. It's always some difference in the road. But the concrete floor in a workshop is flat. So we will overload the same spot in the knee. So my suggestions for people that working on a concrete floor, try to walk funny steps. If you look in Jan Cleese, he do a funny step. You don't have to do this extreme, but try to walk with inside of the feet and outside and back and front. Try to lower the knees different angles. It's hard to do because you have to think and you have to walk like that. I have done this over the last half year, and keep away the problems, and certainly, but working 19 days without any day off, it's too much. That was the reason why my right knee just crashed. And but it's nothing wrong with the knee. It's the menisc on the outer side. Very strange, because most people get problem with the inner menisc. And but it's not broken. It's getting soft, and some tiny bit has dropped off probably, and it also can be a little bit inflammation in the knee under the patella. So if resting, and I need to go to the shop tomorrow and buy bones and doing my slow cookers, I will dissolve that and drink, because I need the collagen, because if you drink a lot of collagen, you can use that in your body, and the body can regenerate the meniscs. It's a tissue that in the outer menisc they can heal himself. So I will probably be on my feet normally in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but I go with the crutches. It's not a problem. It hurts sometimes, but I still work full time. Of course, I can't, lifting heavy things. I can, but I cannot move them. I need to use some help, with a small trollers, and it works perfectly fine. So I'm not, stay home from work. I still work. So I work all the week that, from Monday to Friday. This happened in the Monday, so I still work. I go home 1 hour early on Tuesday because I go to the hospital, and they did the photographing on my knee and didn't find no problem. So the problem is the meniscus, nothing else. So knee is still fine and no arthritis at all. I talk about this in the Mac. I have photographs on my hips and the knees from 2017. I have arthritis. In Swedish we say arthros, but arthritis. And it's not the other one, rheumatoid arthritis is not the same. This arthritis comes with the age of most people. I had this 2017, and this photograph says no, there was no arthritis. So it's gone in my body. I have no arthritis. So it will be perfectly fine. Yeah, you had a tip on what meat you should eat. Of course, I will say like this: this is the best biohack, cheapest hack you can do. Go to City Gross if you live in Sweden, if you have that store, because I know the quality of that meat. Sometimes it's too lean, of course, but there is something you should think about. Lean meat is not a bad thing. Buy the lean meat because mostly it's cheap. In the fall in Sweden, you can buy beef, like chuck steak or something. Now you can buy them in big chunks for, let's say, I think it's $5 per pound. If you use American numbers, that's what you can buy them in Sweden for. At City Gross, they take around $5 per pound, and some cases, if you luck, you can get a lot of fat. Sometimes you not get a lot of fat, but it's nothing wrong with that meat. Just add the meat, just add the fat to the meat. You can buy grass-fed fat from, in Sweden, you can buy that in most towns we have in Sweden, we call Reko-ring. It's like farmers market in most bigger towns, like if you have maybe 25, 30,000 people living there more. They have farmer markets in most places in Sweden. Probably you can get reach of that in your country if you live close to a farmer. That fat they have, most going to the trash, or they try to sell it, they give it away more or less. So you can buy that fat grass-fed tallow for around, in Swedish money, I say around 50 kroner. That's like 4, 5, let's say $5 per. It will be like less than that. It will be around $3 per pound in Sweden for grass-fed tallow. And just rendering it and put it on or eat it as it is, because you can eat that fat straight on raw, not a problem. It tastes very, very good. It's a bit dry fat if you eat it uncooked. It will be like fudge if you remember how candy taste. So raw tallow is more like eating candy, like fudge actually. So you can put that fat together with the meat. So I prefer to eat, steaks, something I cut up myself. I can cut up what I want, because a whole piece of meat will not get a lot of bacteria because it will be on the surface. If you grind it, you will have more bacteria and it will get quicker and not maybe good, bad, I don't know. But I prefer eating, cut up pieces. and I will probably finish, around 1 pound of meat per day if I just eat meat. So it will not last long. Yeah, grinded meat is perfectly fine. That contains a lot of fat that you need. So the cheapest thing you can eat in Sweden is grinded beef, with fat, 20%, a little bit low. You need to go up to 27, more or less, or at least 30%, I think better. You can also go up to 35, 40%. Because if you look at the latest science, I don't care. Some people say, oh, that's rubbish, but it's not rubbish. I tried this out now. My son has he eaten, his diet, it's carnivore, primal, a mix of it. I don't want to say to my son, you can't eat that, you can't eat that. He can eat what he wants, but he wants to eat meat-based, primal, carnivore. My son does still eat raspberries. That's not carnivore, but it's contained in the primal area. He likes that, and he's not getting ill about that, and he's not gaining weight with that, and it's not high carb, so it's still ketogenic. That's what my son eats, and I'm totally fine with that. No, yes, of course I can talk Swedish, but the problem is that people look at this live, after. So people will look at this from now. They will come in soon. I have many English people looking at this, after, and they listen to me because I not always just doing answer. I also talk about what I read and what I test. So I will try to get the message out. But I found out, this is an experiment I did with my son, and of course with me too. And I found out, now I will go through that. So if you listen carefully now, and how you should try out if you want to drop weight, even if you don't want to drop weight, you still can eat like this, because your body will get to optimal weight. Because even if you do this fasting, you will not drop weight. When you hit that perfect weight, you will stop dropping weight, and you will start gaining muscles. So, because carnivore is not a weight loss diet, it's an weight optimizing diet together with fasting. But you can still do the fasting even if you eat carnivore. But the thing with the fasting is that you can eat, I will say, if you do the fasting for 40 hours between the two meals, you shouldn't care about at all how much you eat. Eat and feel full. And the day after, skip the meat. Skip feeding yourself, rest your gut, rest your stomach, and just let the time go to, and you eat every second day. That's a pretty normal thing to do. So try to keep 36 to 40 hours fast between the meals, even if you don't need to drop weight. Because you will not drop weight if you do that, because your body will settle your metabolism. But you can do a thing more, because if you look at the latest study that, it was not supposed to show, there was, if you look at Bickman's study, the team it was, they studied diabetes type 1, and they find out that, the biggest problem with type 1 diabetes is that they have a too high metabolic rate, because the insulin they have no insulin, so they need to add it, but still they have higher metabolic rate. And this is not unusual. I have a guy at work that is, borderline type 1 diabetes, but he is not using medication. But he can eat like, wolf. He eats food 4 or 5 times per day, and it's loads of food. And he is skinny as fuck. And he says, I have a high metabolism, so I need to eat constantly. And that guy is close or less, more close to have type 1 diabetes. So his metabolism is high. And it's the insulin. And if the insulin is low and you get ketosis, this paper that released shows that you can get your metabolic rate up to 2.3 times per day more. So if you are around, let's say, you spend around 3,000 calories if you look at that. Because calories is not the thing your body works with, but we'll use that as a a scale for how much your body will release or use, whatever you call that. And let's say you expend around 3,000 calories normally. That's not unusual for a grown-up man or even a boy or a girl that are active. Uh, then if you are ketosis, your metabolism goes up. And this is what I find out for myself and for my son. My son going hardcore in for eating a lot of fat with a little bit of raspberry, of course. That's his choice. I will not tell my kid what he should not eat. Sometimes he get tired of this and just eat the fat, just heavy cream. But for him, the low amount of sugar that is in raspberry in the heavy cream, it will not affect him at all. He's young, but he's still dropping weight with that. So highest amount of heavy cream he ate for over 3 months now has been around 1 liter. That's more or less 1/4 for every day. And 1/4 of heavy cream, that's a lot of calories. I don't think if it's 40% fat, it should be around 350 calories per deciliter. So let's say you drink 10 deciliter, that's 3,500 calories in fat. Why does he not gain weight? That's one thing I need to think about. So we just did this, and I also increased my fat intake. I also did a fat fasting. And the fun thing with the fat fast, I did 3 days fat fasting. I just eat pork fat, raw pork fat. And yeah, that's a good thing. Already improvements. Of course, there will be improvements. If you look at Chris Palmer's science, I recommend you to buy the book from Chris Palmer and read it. Chris Palmer, psychiatric, I will say it in English. And, what I've done, I have reversed my autism spectrum disorder. This was impossible for me to do before Carnivore. I hate going live, hate to talk to people. I was, very limiting with what people I, united with, and my friend list on the private area is very small even today because it was a bit stressful to have people come and visit me. I didn't like that. Today I will say, fine, come, I don't care. So no, never, if I eat something that is not strict carnivore, lion diet, whatever you call it, it's ketogenic. And if we eat something outside, it happens maybe 1.5 year, we go to Chinese or China restaurant. I don't take fried meat, fried things. I ask what are used in this. So luckily we have this name in Sweden and in our city, or excuse me, they are in we have 2 cities that grow together, Eskilstuna and Torshälla. And Torshälla is one of the oldest cities in Sweden actually. And they are there, and the name is Clean Kitchen, and they do salmon in oven. So when I go there, I say I'm allergic to everything, but I can eat salmon. And so I go in and I eat 1 kilo of salmon. Sorry for them, but it's a buffet, and there is no sugar added. And so I get the pure salmon done in the oven, and they have like some Chinese pork, and they come out and put it in that sauce. And I say, stop. I will take that pork without the sauce, and I will get the fatty thing. So I can actually eat outside if I stay, if they put on the sauce, just to scrape it off, because okay, it will be a little bit sugar in that because they fucking use sugar in the Chinese food. But I've gone to eating that, and if I do that, the secret you will do when you're eating outside and that's not 100% clean, do a fasting of 40 hours. because if you even get like, in carbs, maybe let's say you get 30, 40 grams of carb, that's a lot for me. But if you do fasting, you will clear that out within 40 hours. But for me, when I eat out, I need to check so it's not containing grains, because that can get me real sick. So I have to be asking questions about what they're using in the food. So, but I asked them, no grains, no soy, and okay, I can eat this, I cannot eat that. So it's a bit, so I know I can eat at that place, but if you go to a different place, you never know what they use in the food. So, but if you're doing a salmon in the oven, they don't use anything. It's just a salmon and maybe some spices. That would be clean food. So no, I don't do any, cheating since 2.5 years back. I will see. This 2.5 years. This was in February 2022. The last time I ate something that I get, allergy against, and it was, in Sweden we call that semla. It's like a bun with a heavy cream and also with what do you call that? It's almond paste or something. You do that, and we have it that one time per year in Sweden, and I eat that before, and I realized that I get really sick eating that. And then when I found out that was the grains, it was the algae that not work with it. It doesn't matter if it's without gluten or not, I will still get sick because I'm not allergic to the gluten. I am allergic to the gliadin, and gliadin and such proteins in other vegetables are the same. So I can't eat veggies. If I eat something, I need to eat very small. If I do eat non, pure carnivore, it's ketogenic. So I will, buy myself to maybe eat avocado sometimes. But that my son can eat that. He likes that. But I will probably get flare up if I eat more than small slices. It's not giving me anything, so I will not do it normally. I try to still be in the keto. I will be in the ketogenic. So even if I do like cheating, it's still ketogenic or ketovore. For me, it's enough. But as it is today, I can't eat anything sweet because that tastes awful. That sweet tooth that people say they have. When you live in without sugar of any kind in the food or outside, don't eat that. That taste for sugar is gone. You will not have that left. So it's just stay away from it. And every time when you get something like want to eat something sweet, take salt in the water, and suddenly it's gone. Salt is a trick for taking away any sweet tooth. The taste for the sweet will disappear with the salt. And but back to the fasting thing, talk about that. Try to ask more questions, of course. The more questions asked, the better it is for my channel, because people want to. Ask, the better it is for my channel, because people want to hear your question. Maybe some people don't ask, but they can read your question. Okay, I have this too. The thing is, for most diseases, I got, this is a big news for me. I talked with my physiotherapist today, and I talked about, they have hired in a doctor at, primary healthcare I'm signed to in this town. And this guy is from Stockholm. He's a hired doctor. And he says my diet is pretty good. He says this is your result is, he have seen me on TV, by the way. He says continue this thing with food. Food is medicine. You need to realize that. I know that. I try to teach other people. That's what the first doctor I ever had in this country that says food is the medicine. It's all in the food. If you can stay away from any pills, do it. Eat the right food, because that's medicine. And I can't say this in YouTube, but most diseases can be more or less healed with the right type of food. not if you gone too far, but if you like the neuro thing with because I have lived long time with this burning sensation. It feels like your fingers will drop off, and that's painful, really painful. It got so severe after the COVID that I almost wanted to end my life. I tell this open because I will not try to hide it. The pain was so awful. So I wanted to end my life actually after the COVID because I got the flare up of all the thing I had in the body before. It was 10 or 100 times worse. And that's why I said to, Dave Mack about the flare up and the immune system got totally whacked. It because I was getting so sick. So the pain I had, it got me to crying all the night because I couldn't sleep because of the pain in the fingers and the toes. And it was the nerves that was painful. It feels like the pain I had. It was like you're going out in the winter without any gloves and you stay out for 4 hours. And they start to freezing like getting blue. You get colds damage if you don't use gloves. And when you're young and you go into the kitchen, so you're freezing your hands off and like they are getting really painful, and you shovel your hands under the hot water, and you realize that was a bad thing to do. That pain, because I think most people that young sometime had put their hands under the hot water, being outside in the cold, almost freezing your fingers. And that pain you get when you're doing that from cold and put your finger under hot water, that was the pain I lived with for almost over 6 months per year because the allergy. So it created systemic inflammation in my body that entering my toes and my fingers. So I was not able to play guitar because of the pain. So I use painkillers. In Sweden we have like Voltaren. It's very strong medication. It also, if you're peeing in your toilet, and that medication will go out with the peeing, and it also not good for nature. So it's very awful medication to use. But I live on that. It was so severe. I live on that. So, even if I got a cold, so I got the sinus infection, and you should not eat Voltaren if you get sinus infection. I still eat that. So that was terrible because I got severe infection in my sinus, and because of eating the Voltaren. So never eat such painkillers if you have a cold. I did that before and it was not good. But I live on this medication and painkillers because the severe pain was awful, and it's gone. I never got it back after doing the fasting. So, and also clear out all grains and veggies. That was the thing that creating this mess in my body, and mostly the grains. If you do you eat all kinds of meat raw or eat some meat? I try everything. I eat moose, I eat reindeer, I eating deer, I eating venison, I eat kangaroo. Mostly it's beef and pork. Pork meat is sort of raw. I do dry salt in. You take your meat and you put on salt and you put it in the fridge for 3-4 days. Then I eat it. So it's same thing as you put salt on your meat, and over the night you can do it. If it's just 1 centimeter, I let it sit in the fridge for 1 day or 24 hours. I will eat it. So it's salted. So you can call it cured, but it's still raw because the heating is not good for. I always believe before this, before starting eating the raw, that they say people, your digestion will be less and you will not take up vitamins, etc., etc. And people that see me in the real life, my physiotherapist saw me today. I show him the legs and the arms and all the hair on the back and everything. And he this was 6 months ago. I didn't have any hair on the legs. I didn't have any hair on the back and the arms. It's growing like hell all over the body. Also, my mustache is getting black again. It was white. So I started growing up black hair. Yeah, of course, I'm going nuts, when I, uh, no, not going nuts. I will say I will go all in. So I, try to look for raw meat, compare with cooked meat. I find studies, but the problem with this most studies is not done. They say raw meat is not good for you. So why do studies on raw meat? But there is studies on that. So I put that study up in Swedish Carnivore Nordic group about the content of meat and the vitamin that are in the meat as when it's raw. And there is 32% of vitamin B's, all the vitamins in the meat is methylated. Almost everything is methylated because that's the animals' methylation they've done for themselves to the muscles and everything. So this methylated vitamins is there when it's raw. But when you cook it, methylated vitamins is heat sensible. So you will lose around 30-32%. What disappear is the methylated vitamins. And if you have problem with your methylation pathways in the body, you would not be able to convert the other types of vitamins in that not methylated fully. So you will get less nutrient up and less vitamins, But if you eat it raw, you eat something that is pre-made for you. You eating that fresh meat that contains 32% vitamin of the B vitamins already methylated. And when I start eating that, my hunger disappear and I feel a lot better. I get all the nutrition because I probably have some mutation in this methylation path. We have that look at my aunt that's still alive. She has had it, she has done tests over 50 years ago. She could not produce vitamin D in the body from sunshine. It's impossible for her. So we have gene defection in our bloodline. So it can come up. So probably we have this problem. I don't know that because I don't done the tests. But it feels like I find the key to fix this without doing some medication, because getting methylated vitamins into my body totally changed me. And I don't say that I eat supplements because after fasting that much I did, I got recommendation by coaches in Kenny Berry's group to add, B complex, because your B1 vitamin will be on the lowest scale. And B1 you should be aware of. If you're getting too low, you can die. So fasting a lot and eating carnivore and not going in for the pork meat, you will get deficiency in vitamin B1, the thiamine. It's very important to eat pork if you're eating carnivore. That's why when you eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you eat the bacon, you get the B1 vitamins. Taking away the bacon, you have problems because you need the vitamin B1. Maybe not that much if you compare to omnivore diet, because thiamine or B1 is necessary to have your glucose metabolism working, and without it, your mitochondria will just close down. And that's something that people drinking alcohol a lot, alcoholism, people that are drunk a lot, and also anorectic people will die of B1 deficiency. So be careful eating carnivore, and if you're not eating pork, be careful. You maybe need a supplement of B1 vitamin, methylated, of course, not unmethylated. So I will say like this: if you're health problems, metabolic health problems, you can add a supplement when you're going down in weight, because you will do the fasting thing just to solve the problems. So it's not a bad thing to use a B complex for this. If you have a problem with it, if you have deficiency like in cobalamin, it shouldn't be there. If you eat carnivore, it should have higher level. This should be in Swedish measurement around 500 up to 800. If you are under 200, you have methylation problem, then you need to add this. This is a good thing. And don't be afraid to use supplements if they are good quality and if there is a purpose for use that. But you don't need to eat like the other crap, Vitamin D, if you are deficient in that, of course, it's important. But you cannot, if you eat in vitamin D and K2, it doesn't matter if you eat 5 or 10,000 international unit, as long as you don't add the fat in the food, the real fat, and probably the animal fat, of course, from pork. And if you don't add that and also get the B5, the panthenone acid, you will not be able to use the vitamin you eat. So eating a B complex together with vitamin D is a good thing. That will raise your vitamin D level. Also, you will get better, you will take up better from the sunshine. And you get high levels of vitamin D and you will stay more healthy. And with high vitamin D level, your testosterone level will go up. So it's all connected to it, in steps. You don't be, just raising one time, one vitamin. You need to raise everything. So don't be afraid of using good supplement. But most people that eat a carnivore that are healthy shouldn't be eating anything else than a variety of different meats, and don't be afraid to eating pork, because pork in Europe, of course, is not a bad thing. They are controlled. In Germany they eat raw pork. 1/3 of the population in Germany eat raw pork every day. You can check this up. You can Google MET, METT, German, Schweinenmet. That's a popular eating raw pork fat, pork meat. They are fresh made every day and they sell it everywhere. So yes, B1 is destroyed when heated. Of course, that's the reason why you should eat pork fat, because in pork fat you got B1 vitamins also. But it will still be in lean meat. So therefore, a cured meat, pigs, cured, like Italian, especially like prosciutto or something, it's not a bad thing to eat because that's just salt cured. So 100 grams of salt cured pork, it's enough to supply all the B1 vitamins. There are people maybe not eating pork at all, and they maybe have a good can fill up the system. But if you want just to eat beef and nothing else, beef and fat, you should realize that a grown-up man, big man that around, let's say 220 pounds, should eat, to get the B1 vitamin, raw meat, about 2 kilo, 2.2 kilo, or more or less 4 pounds each day. If you eat the 4 pounds of raw beef each day, you will be getting B1, you with all the other nutrition also. That's the level of raw beef you need to eat to get all the vitamins in the proper amount. So just living on that raw, cooked meat will not be that lucky for most people. You need to overeat a lot, maybe overeat, but you need to eat a lot to, give you all the nutrition. So, and you have a heartburn. That's halsbränna in Swedish. What you do with the heartburn? Some coming back of 24 hours. First of all, the heartburn is a thing that is connected with a low sodium level in the body. I don't mean the blood level, because the blood level can show pretty good that you are, have a good balance. But when your blood level is whack, that means that you have a serious problem. I had that. I never eating extra salt in all my life. Going carnivore, got it even worse. So people that follow me when I started this fasting journey 2022 with a carnivore know that I increased my salt intake from almost nothing. When I started carnivore, I never use real salt. I use salt food like this, and eat it. And I didn't buy any special salt. I used still the white, the table salt in Sweden, not that good. And then I realized that this was something problem, and found out that salt deficiency is a big problem for most people. And what most people doesn't know is that if you eat in too little salt, you can get your renin under a tensine system. Your sympathetic nervous system can be telling your kidneys to raise your blood pressure because you need to reabsorb the sodium from your kidneys. And your kidneys will work its ass off and your blood pressure will go up. And this will continue as long as you don't put in enough salt. So eating less salt creates high blood pressure. It did on me. So when I start eating a lot of, we have this Celtin salt. It's like a new salt. We have this in Sweden that is popular. You have potassium and you have sodium and you have also it's Epsom salt. So don't overuse this salt in Europe if you can get your hands on this Celtin, new salt, because it's this Epsom salt will get your gastric. You will shit your pants if you eat too much of it. But 1 teaspoon per day when you need to add more potassium and get your salt level up and your electrolytes up, you can eat 1 teaspoon per day, not a problem. Then you need to add a lot of sea salt. Do not buy table salt, white table salt. That is washed. It's just one mineral. It's just sodium chloride. It is nothing else in that. Your body is not made of just sodium chloride. You have, I think it's around 66 or 68 different minerals in real sea water, and that is what your body contains of. Your body is the same thing as sea water. So pure seawater has the same content of salt that your body has. So if you just eat one of the minerals in that water, sodium chloride, and not the other one, you will get imbalance in the minerals in the body. It's not a good thing. So eat real salt that is, if you take it, Redmond salt, Celtic sea salt, we also have in Sweden, maybe in other countries also we have this other brand, much cheaper than everything. Now my brain not working, but you can buy it in Swedish stores where it's cheap in drugstores online. I think you pay around 40 Swedish crown, like $4 per 1 kilo of sea salt, and it's almost taken the same place as Celtic sea salt. Yeah, it was Urtekram salt. You can buy that in Sweden. I think you can buy in Norway and Finland too, and probably in Denmark too. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Urtekram because it's from Portugal, and Celtic sea salt is from the same bay. It's from what they call that? I think it's France. It's the same bay. They are the same water. So it's nothing different. Maybe the sea salt from Celtic is a bit more wet. In Sweden, most places you don't have to worry about the water. If living in my area, the water we take is probably one of the cleanest water we have in Sweden. I would say our water is pretty good. It has a little bit more of that nasty thing they put also in toothpaste if you eat that, So fluoride, it has a bit higher than it should maybe be, but it's not a bad thing. If you don't like fluoride or even chlorine, they can put in that in this water system because need to take away some bacteria in the lines. You can take a little bit, like ascorbin acid, like vitamin C. You can take a pinch in 1 liter water and let it stand for, let's say, 5 minutes. Bang, your water will be clear off of that chlorine. That will be because it will neutralize it. So you can do that. Vitamin C, you don't need to eat on carnivore at all because that's a problematic thing to do. Vitamin C is in the raw meat. So if you eat in raw meat, you get vitamin C as much as you want, than you need also. Uh, but you can also eat fish raw, you know, like caviar. You can eat that raw and you will get the vitamin C there. So eating a tablespoon of fish raw will supply you with the vitamin C. So eat a variety of your carnivore diet. Don't be afraid of fish. You can eat fatty fish. You don't need to eat salmon. If there is a lot of other fishes you can eat are fat, but eat a variety. I will say beef is good, but you can eat fish. You can eat fish raw. You can eat fish raw, of course, but fish I will put in the freezer for 3 days before eating raw. But I prefer eating fish raw. It's more tasteful. My son eating all fish raw, so we have tried more, like Japanese fishes that are used in sushi. Also taste good. A 44 hours fast should not be not involved in anything with the digestion. Your body should not get a problem with that. So if you're new to the carnivore diet, of course, that could be a problematic thing. But the problem is not the diet in itself. The more problem is with your digestion. You maybe need to use a supplement of, HCl and pepsin supplement, because you will probably not make bile enough. And if you also get heartburn, that you have problem with producing bile, and that means you probably is deficiency in chloride. So you need probably eating more salt and chloride, and also add some potassium together with that, and do that for a long time, because it can be like this that you will probably maybe have overreaction in your creating more cortisol than you need. And that can also lead to you dumping a lot of electrolytes. So in the beginning, you maybe need to add for 1 year, add electrolytes every day when you're switching over to carnivore diet. So your body can, rebuild the metabolism, and so that you will keep the water you need. Because when you're going switching over to carnivore diet, you will pee your electrolytes out, because you will release the salt and you will get rid of all excess water. And that's most weight you drop the first 2 weeks is more or less water that is sitting in your bodies, in your legs and everywhere, and are binded there because the salt and the high insulin level and high blood sugar level. So eating carnivore will get down this level, and the insulin goes down, and you will release the water, and also you will pee out most excess water, and you will also pee out a lot of electrolytes. So one person for the first 2 weeks going over to carnivore diet, we say carnivore is the most extreme ketogenic diet you do, will drop around 80 grams of electrolytes first 2 weeks. So if you don't add electrolytes the first 2 weeks every day, you will get deficiency in electrolytes, a lot of it. That's why you probably don't, when you go, you will get the keto fever, whatever they call that. Some people getting hot and not feeling very good, and they get headache and everything. It's because you have deficiency in your electrolytes. So you need to add electrolytes when you changing the diet, and this also is in connection with your mitochondria that also will not function well, because if you are going from a high sugar diet, you probably have a raised baseline of insulin in your body. That means if you look at the studies that Nick Norris talked about, I think it was 1.5 months ago, about the mitophagy and the pink thing, it's triggered by the insulin. So if you go into the high insulin mode, that means your body will tell the mitochondria to go in mitophagy, and to quit that, you need to get your insulin low. And if you never go low in insulin, you will not go into rebuild your mitochondria, because you will get dysfunctional mitochondria because the high insulin constantly is high. So by getting down, you will start rebuilding your mitochondria again. So the most weight we have, the energy expend we do in the body is controlled by the mitochondria. So with the dysfunctional mitochondria, you will not turn the food you eat to energy or nutrition. And if you are really, really big and obese, like I was, you're getting obese because of nutrition deficiency. That's because your mitochondria doesn't work as it should, and your pathways is damaged because you eaten the wrong food for maybe 3 decades, like I did. Then you need to repair that. Your body need to get, repair your mitochondria, need to rebuild itself. And hopefully you're not going too far and, getting sick for real, because you can get really sick destroying your mitochondria for a long time. It can turn out to be worse thing. I cannot mention that here because, YouTube is what YouTube is, but I can recommend you to listen to Thomas Seyfried about that thing. And probably dysfunctional mitochondria is the main cause for, a very known sickness people getting around the world. And it's not diabetes, it's something that is worse, and people die of it, of course. And I cannot say that this diet will save your lives and everything. That will be wrong, so I will not mention that. But you can check up Thomas Seyfried science about this disease that people getting all over the body in different organs, and also die probably of it. And that's main cause probably is dysfunctional mitochondria that creating this problem. So if you are lucky, you have stopped this and you change the diet, you will probably stop this your body from waking that dragon inside you that will get you sick. So hopefully it's you have the chance to change that before it's too late. But going back to the water quality, most cities in Sweden have no problems with the water. Bottled water often in Sweden is worse quality than our tap water in Sweden. If you are worried, you can get a filter, and so you can clear out the water and clear the water that's cleaned. You can hydrogenate it in the hydrogen bottle. That will also help this water get free from deuterium, and will help you a lot. If you're using not that good water, maybe with a salt content or some other shit in it, and you use this cheaper hydrogen bottles, they can create bad stuff for you. So you need to be careful using hydrogen bottled water. If the water is clean, you can do hydrogen of it. If it's not clean, it will actually create chlorine in the water. It's not a good thing for you to drink. So clean water, you should check up the water. You can check up with the town you live in, the governments there. They should have all the testers for the water out in offense. If you check up the homepage in the city you live in, they should have quality control to water. It should be, you can check in your town. I have this, I check in our town, so I know exactly what water is, and they do tests every month, so you can check up every month how the water quality is in our city. Absolutely, it's not, you can always do that. You have to check up my messenger. You can go to the Meet Geek Sweden and connect there. I have maybe not answer directly, because I work full time at work, and I will work from 10 to 7 o'clock tomorrow in the evening. So before that, on the daytime, I never look at the phone because I never had the time. So it will be after 8 o'clock in the evening in Swedish time. If you have any questions, you can always ask them. I will answer them. But the Meet Geek Sweden, you have a messenger function there. You can connect there. This is the most easiest thing. It will not ending up in a spam folder. If you try to connect with my my own account in Facebook, you will end up in a spam filter. It will take time for me to find that you have sent a question, but do that on the Meet Geek Sweden. You can search for Carnivore Future in Facebook. You will end up in Meet Geek Sweden. But Facebook didn't like Carnivore Future. That's why I not can use it in that. But I have the search way for Carnivore Future. So you will find that in the same name. So search for Carnivore Future in Facebook, you will find my page. So not a problem. There is 4 people. Way, that's good. But it's a other time in USA, so maybe people maybe add up here soon. We never know. Um, I have a daughter. I need to. Yes, yes. Jag är klar. Need to end this now. 1 hour. It should not be too late. Then go back to you're in for 44 hours fast. Yeah, and if you do 40 hours fast, it's not a problem. You never had any refeeding problem with that. Doing 72 hours fast will also be non-problematic. When you do 5 days or more, then you need to think about refeeding syndrome. It will not be a syndrome if you're doing the right stuff. Ending a longer fast, you should not put in your body a lot of fat because you will get explosion in the back. Don't ask me why I know that. But you can eat like a half eggs or something and take it easy for 1 hour, then bang, you can start eating. Maybe you need to go to the toilet, maybe you're not. Don't overeat salt when you're ending a fast because that will get your body in can also be an explosion. So this is against carnivore. But I find out that the phosphor, phosphor is some brownish, non-sweetened beverage. But you can, if you get your hands on phosphor in a supplement, you can use that. Because when you're fasting a lot and longer times, your phosphor goes down. So if you're ending your fast by getting eating extra phosphor, and you stop the fast after around 12 hours eating this supplement, you will probably not getting a refeeding syndrome because the phosphor get low and you can get imbalance in your electrolytes. But most refeeding syndrome, it's more or less only connected to eating omnivore or high sugar diet. Eating high sugar diet after a longer fast is begging for problem. Don't ever eat non-ketogenic food if you're doing longer fast. That's not a good thing. It will be terrible to do that, and it's not healthy for you. So always go in for high fat diet. So maybe it's ketovore, carnivore, lion, whatever you choose in this ketogenic world. You should always go for high fat and learn to fasting, but never end the fast with anything that is sweet. That's a stupid thing to do. But I will put together maybe on my page, was a couple of days ago, I last do an update, but I will probably put together like an basic 10 steps to eating and fasting. I think that should not be that more like that, because if you live in the way I do today and also my son do, we are not that into food or what should we eat. I skipped to eat today. Even my son, I am not hungry. So it's not supposed to be like you eating on the same time every day. Don't eat when you're not hungry. There is no reason for that. So if I put together that, and I come to the conclusion with that study that was Benjamin Bikman released, that they have one side thing about that. This was not something they had to think of. But I will say like this: if you're a woman, try this. I will tell you step for step now. Try to do this. Eat on Monday 2 meals. Eat more than you think you should eat, because most people eating too less food than you need. You need to eat more food. More food, better metabolic rate. On day 2, no food. You can do it all fast, of course, but as if you're a woman and you need to get your hormones working, eat fat and not butter. Eat, if you can, raw or salted pork fat. That I find that the pork fat is more nutritional in. So you can do the dry salting and eat the pork fat. Just eat 100 grams of fat. Animal fat is best. Only eat that. So it's a fat fasting. Then on Wednesday, eat normally and do fat. Do fat only on non-eating days. Try that for 2 weeks. See what happened with the body. I did that and I just did 3 days fat fasting, almost 4 days. And you think eating just raw animal fat will get you diarrhea, but that's will not. I get the opposite. I get, a bit traumatic to go to the toilet. I got stuffed instead, constipated the first day, and the last day after that I got normal. So eating raw animal fat will not getting you into the diarrhea mode, but you will get the fat. And the funny thing, I dropped weight eating fat. I could use I have the belt put on around keep my trousers up, and I did 2 new holes on that one after this fasting. So eating just pure animal fat will get your metabolic rate up, and you will drop weight even if you eat 100 grams fat. It's not much, but the 100 grams fat make you so full in the gut, so you will not, after 3 days fast, you would probably not want to eat at all. So just eating fat makes you hunger. If you have any hunger, or no, most people don't have hunger eating like this, but you will not be able to eat. Let's say like this, you will feel satiety. After eating that fat for 3 days, you don't want to see food, and that's even better because you feel full, but you don't eating anything else than just fat. Now it's gone to over 1 hour. I will stop this, and hopefully next Sunday I will do the same time. I will go out when I kick this off. I will do next live already now, so people will find it. I was not, I forgot to do this. It has been one day before. So if I do this for 7 days before I will send the next live, maybe more people will get here. And the goal is to release some kind of book about this when I'm ready. And but this should not be that big book, because it's very easy to do this. I just do experiment with everything, and because my son also eating this, I know how it works for 14 years old kid. And the funny thing I will last say about this, we go to the bathhouse, and there was a woman from Iran, very kind, and she has a daughter, 25 years old, very beautiful daughter, and he has a son that was 18 years old. And I asked him, I guess my son's age. He's 14 years old. The daughter, that is 25, guess that he was 22. The guy, the son, think he was 18 or 20. And the mother think he was around 20. And my son is 14 years old. Diet has made him look like an adult man because he grew muscle like, excuse the language, like fuck. He looks like a male, and like an 18-year-old plus male today. He has growing beard, he has beard coming around. He has hair on the chest. He has mustache. He evolves very quick, and there is no one else in his year group, in his, the classmates, because he meet them even in the summer, and no one is close to him. He looks more or less like an 18-year-old kid, and he's tall. He has big shoes, and he growing like, he getting big quick, and also he looked like a grown-up man today. And then just 1.5 years ago, he looked like a kid, and overweight. And today, no overweight. He's normal weight. He looks like it should do but he's more powerful than most young kids in his age. He more or less equal to an 18-year-old athlete. And the food is the only thing he has changed. He doesn't do any workout. He doesn't do any sports more than normally he go to school and do school gymnastics. That's the only thing. Now he's been off everything and not gained 1 kilo. He eating, he talk calories, maybe around 4,000. So my son eating around 4,000 calories of food every day. not gaining weight, but it's high fat and high protein, no carbs, or less it's the carbs that in heavy cream, the carbs maybe in the raspberry seeds. So maybe it gets around 15 grams of carbs each day, but the limit is up to 20 grams because in carnivore it's not a zero carb. You will get carbs. There is carbs in eggs, there's carbs in heavy cream, in some carbs even in the butter. There is carb, but it's so little, so will not affect your body at all. So he changes is very, look at other people in his age. He is the only one in that school that has this evolution from just 1.5 year eating like this. So we'll see if any other kids will follow him. We'll see that. Now I will end this. Now it's over 1 hour. Yeah, you can do it in Swedish also if you want that, but you can ask Swedish question, absolutely, but I will answer them in English because people can use and check your message and translate it to English. But I try to do in English in YouTube. If you want to see live and in Swedish, I do that in Instagram, sometimes mostly English there, but in Carnivore Nordic. So you can, if you don't eat in that group, Carnivore Nordic today, you can add yourself, be a member. It's free and in Facebook. And I will do live there in Swedish. So if you want to do listen to question and answers there, I would probably do that in the middle of the week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday or something. So maybe do a shorter. I almost every time do that when I drive home. So I do that in my car. I have my phone almost straight around. If you look at the steering wheel here, so my phone is almost behind the steering wheel. So people think I look in my phone, but I look at the road mostly because I have the road and the phone is almost in the same spot. So I look up straight over the phone. So people think I look at the phone, but it's totally opposite. The phone is, I don't have to change my point, look at the screen or just over the screen. So maybe people think I look at the phone and drive, but not such thing. I drive very safely, so I will be able to answer question in Swedish on that live. And if you go into the Carnivore Nordic, you can hear that live. Or maybe Instagram. I do that normally around 4:30 or something in the afternoon. And now I work late. This will be when I drive home around 7 o'clock in the evening. So if you want to have Swedish thing, you can add you to Instagram and follow me there. And I will probably do live when I drive home tomorrow in Swedish. But I will thank everyone that, this is a small channel. I don't have a lot of followers. And if it adds more, that's fun. I try to help people. I'm not taking any money from this. I don't want any super chats or anything like that. It's just to help people and nothing else. I don't do any money on this. I just spend my free time to help other people, and I help other people. And I get people that are dropping a lot of weight and get your health back. And it's not just young people, more or less, most is older women, older women exactly. One is 60 plus and dropped 28 kilo in 7 months. That's not a bad thing when you're 60 plus. And there's other people also dropping weight, even, as long as they, follow this type of eating and fasting, you will drop weight. You will find your, optimal weight if you have 30 kilo more than you need, like 64 pounds more, you will probably need around 7-8 months. Then you will drop off that most weight if you're doing eating and fasting like this. Then after you're doing that, you can maybe fast a little less, but it's not a bad thing to do. Intermittent fast is very good for the body, and also your digestion will slow down and you will get more nutrition out of the food. Eating too much too often, you will probably push out the food too quick and you will just poo out all the nutrition instead of letting the body absorb everything. So eating more and take a break will make your digestion slow down, and you will take out more nutrition out of it. And what comes out will be less. Eating too much too often, it will just pull up most of it. You will not probably take up all the nutrition. It's just being expensive and, you know, throwing the money in the garbage. That's what it is. So slow down with the feeding and eat less times and take, you know, some resting from feeding. So better you eat a big meal and rest for 40 hours than instead of eating every day and 2-3 times per day. Is not a good thing. I will say goodbye now. Hopefully you have more questions. You can always ask them, even if I put that down. So tomorrow will this go live, because it takes some time before YouTube release this live. Or you can ask questions after. I will go in and answer them, of course. So you have the chance to ask questions even if I'm not live. So bye bye. I think bye bye.